even if your car was, let's say, the best you've ever had it, and you go grab the newest set of tires, you know, that came out, and you put it on there, that car has not made it to those tires to make it achieve its full potential. So you're almost cheating yourself at that point. You've got to give it tires that much time to get to know them and go, is this a friend for just this occasion, or just this weekend, or is this something that goes everywhere with you, treats you the same each and every time you go out? You know, just like you want somebody in your life, it's like you want somebody that's consistently there, and that's why the joke's kind of in there with the tires. You know, as different as Illinois, Southern Illinois is, like where the King Wings is, this is the only tire that you could go there and win that race with that same tire. They typically run suburbs or rebars out that way, and I mean, if you guys are familiar, I mean, there's a lot less pins. It's a whole different tire. You can still take that tire and go there, glue it up, exactly with the same insert, slug it in and go, and be right at the pin and win it. Yeah. And that's why it makes coming to this race. I mean, that, I've got, what, 4 pair of rears. I have an extra pair of fronts in case I were to wear them out. And that's my collective set for the year, because I'll get to run them one more time. So I'll either buy them new for this race and then burn them off at Tim's race in Kansas. But that, I think, is another good point to hit. Just talking on the car differences, a lot of it inherently comes through the body. It's obvious. Like an EDM to me, or the dirt modifieds, is like taking a late model and putting 2 rear ends on it and cutting the nose off. You've got a body that's completely rear dominant, and you're always going to fight to get that thing to cut. The sprint car, I think it's the greatest race car ever made, because you've got ultimate control of that wing. If sizing are held the same and they're simple, no one has an advantage over the other guy. You all have adjustment, but you know, there's no crazy, well, this body seems to be the one that's working, like you would have in late model. Late model, you're more prescribed. You pound the body this far forward or this far back. The spoilers, you know, bolted on. You can't adjust it like a sprint car wing. The nose is this shape or this big or this swept. You know, those are things that are prescribed to that. So it makes that class a lot harder, because Lord knows we all love pulling that sprint car wing back when we're loose. Key differences, I'll start off with one, but I think it'll jog your memory because you are running all 3 classes. The late model, the car doesn't want to, it's hard to get off the corner, and it's harder to get it to cut if it's getting off the corner. You're either Peter or Paul, and it's like, well, what do? You know, which one do you want? And the way that specifically for that car is make sure it gets off the corner by all means. It might miss the corner, it might not turn in for 40 feet, but flip it with putting a little drag brake in your speed controller. Like an LRP, like drag brake setting, I think their numbers 1 through 8. I think you're probably on 4 or 5.
I'm at 3 right now, yeah.
And that'll, with the car tight, it wouldn't turn in without it. But then again, would a lot of us go to a short track without any, you know, with very little brake in the car. Sprint cars, that brake value is probably about 2, which is just enough to slow it down when you lift. It doesn't have that free roll feeling. You know, that a lot of brushless motors had when you came, for those who raced a long time, brush motors had this natural ability to slow the car down. And when we went to brushless, and these things just roll. So you did need to put a little drag brake in it to make it feel like we used to remember it. That's one key difference there.
The new class is the EDM, and like Arnie said, it's basically almost like taking a late model body and cutting the front end off of it. So it's so kind of new to us that we're still kind of learning as we go. The factors that I see is it's tough to get it to steer in the corner and into the corner. So, you know, we've been trying all kinds of things that we talked about throughout. Generally, at the race that you go to, you run, you have a smaller wing size because that's the rules. And here, I don't think there's a rule size on the actual nose wing. So,
it used to be the same as
okay. Well, I'm not really sure. When I asked earlier, there wasn't really a nose wing rule. So I mounted a bigger nose wing, more air on the front. It's going to let it steer, and it's getting better. It's getting better. But it's kind of funny, even though they're two different classes, they both kind of have similar characteristics. To where, you know, key on the late model, like Arnie said, you gotta get it off the corner, and then get the drag brake. And I think that's kind of what we're doing with these EDMs too.
With sprint car, I think one of the first things a lot of guys, and this will even go for the foam tire guys that are, that run, is a tight sprint car is generally a good sprint car. Nathan, I can vouch for Nathan's car, especially this weekend. He's not up there being overly, a very experienced and very good racer. I think he's standing up there board performance. I mean, I drove his car and it was dummy proof. And I went, okay, this is where I want mine to feel like, and it gave me a direction to go to. That's why I'm saying a tight sprint car generally is a good sprint car. It doesn't. You lift off, for the amount you lift off, it'll rotate in. It doesn't do anything crazy. When you get in the throttle, it just goes straight. It doesn't have doesn't feel like you have to beg it on one corner or the other. How would you compliment a sprint car? Characteristics that they deliver.
Going back to where he said, the sprint car is a lot of everyone's favorite, because you can move the wing for the adjustment on the fly like that, and it's huge. Same thing for the nose wing here. We make all different sizes. When the bike gets up, though, generally a lot of times what will happen is we end up taking the nose wing off. Something that you guys might want to think about if the track continues to groove up, but it looks like they've tilted up a little bit. But we make them in all in all sizes. We even have a nitro wing that is even bigger than that.
Of course, taking it off with one time in 5 years.
Yes. But generally on the electric car, as you can see, Arnie's taken his and even trimmed his down smaller. I've taken mine. Everything is the same here, except I trimmed down the side panels. It's got a lot of good steering already. So the bigger the nose wing, all it's going to do is cut too much. But the main thing that it does is when you're on the straightaway, it's pushing down here. Although the wing is pushing on the rear, if you run a bigger nose wing, you get that kind of floaty feeling down the straightaway, real twitchy. You can't drive a straight line because there's so much air pushing down on the front nose also.
The one first thing you'll notice when if let's say the track's hard to get grip off the corner and it's kind of a mayday moment, when you pull that front wing, the car will definitely come off the corner with more drive. It's just that less weight on it, let it go, let the car drive up off.
But if you get too aggressive, you'll walk out the back lane.
Yeah, exactly. I think another thing you see with sprint cars, and you can get into trouble, is this right here between that hole and that hole is generally in trend, the area where we operate. We can go and we can put it in the trunk if we wanted to. You see some guys there. I think that's where you kind of find yourself and go, wow, I'm really begging if you've got your wing that far. The other thing you're also going to not have is you're going to be balancing the car so far to the rear that it's, let's say your car was good, but you come in tomorrow and Scott makes the track twice as long. Well, if it's more centrally mounted, the faster you get going down that straightaway, if it's more central, he's going to turn in just the same. It's going to load the car. As the car gets faster, it's going to load it more and more the same. But if you got the wing out the back, it's the more and more speed you gather, and more airspeed you got, more and more it's going to translate to the rear, and it's going to get tighter and tighter in. And that kind of is a trapping of getting your car better. Is you'll get in and out of a quarter better, and then you go down, you start finding yourself making faster entries, but now it's like tighter. It doesn't, you're getting better and better, and I think one of the kind of bellwethers for us is, how far forward before we feel like we lost some grip, and it kind of tells us where the track's at or where our car's at.
A good way to tell that you've gone too far with your wing is, let's say you're pushing and you move it and it gets a little bit better and you move it again. the main thing that you can really feel is when you have made that arc and you're ready and you've got through the center and you're coming off the corner and you go to pick up the throttle, and it's almost like it unloads. You can feel it. It unloads.
Turns to the left.
Yeah, that's generally when
For
you know
those in
you've
the
gone to it.
southeast North Carolina, South Carolina region, they call it bottom run. It's like it doesn't necessarily feel like it was loose. It just felt like somebody helped you turn it, like somebody turned the car a little extra, and you know, like you kind of have to pull it right, get it back to where you want. Like it hunted the bottom. But yeah, that's
Generally, I would just go back a hole or two, and then you know, give myself a little bit of right rear, go to a stiffer spring. If I've got some left rear in it, maybe take a little left rear out.
make it rotate.
Make it rotate, but keep the wing in a good balanced position.